Welcome back to our episode. Ryan and Kevin here with Chaos MMA. Today is our UFC 280 recap video, and I've been waiting for this day since Saturday afternoon. And oh my gosh, it's finally here. I cannot wait. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about the fights, everything else, the bets we told you to make. We're also going to talk about this main fight right here, Bilal, Sean, even though we didn't talk about it. And we're going to have a little special guest come on, see what he has to say about the Sugar Sean versus Peter Yan fight. Before we get into, let's start off with this fight. Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Now, if you told me Bilal Muhammad was going to finish Sean Brady before this fight at plus
Yes.
900, plus
Yes.
900 odds, I'd say you're crazy. I'd say you're crazy. And he went out there and Brady just couldn't handle the pressure. It got too much. The first round was competitive, but Bilal just overwhelmed him. And funny thing is, Khabib was in his corner, and look how much different his style is. The pressure, the striking. He looked better in every aspect. It's crazy to say, but Bilal looked like a really different fighter. And then he went out in the call. He went out, called out Hamzat, and then he called out Leon. Do I think he gets any of those fights? No. But you got to shoot your shot. Got to shoot your shot.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Ryan, like we didn't do a prediction video for this, but I knew all week. I just kept hearing Sean Brady. He's just like I just knew in my heart of hearts, like because Bilal Muhammad moved to that Khabib team. He's been living in Abu Dhabi for what the past like at least 4 months. Been training. They're going hard. They've been doing those little the anatomy of a fighter videos. Those are really good. I like watching those. And I just been watching this guy. And I'm like, he's getting really good. And like his mentality completely switched. So I kind of had a gut feeling going into this fight. The first round was it was a little suspect. It was close. But the second round, Bilal Muhammad just got going and ended up finishing him. And
Mm-hmm.
like the stats speak for themselves too. Like that fight was really good. And I think Bilal Muhammad should not get a title fight, but definitely be fighting for that number one contender spot.
I mean, I don't think he gets the Colby fight. I don't think he gets the Hamzat fight. He doesn't get the Leon fight. Usman's getting that. I think if
A rough division to be top five in right now.
yes, if Burns versus Masvidal doesn't become official, I think Bilal versus Burns is the fight to me. I think that's a good fight.
I'm not mad at that fight. I do like that fight. But like you never know. This game always changes.
I
But
know.
let's
Good
see.
fight. Good win for
Also, you
Bilal.
never know because it's weird. I feel like they've been like keeping Bilal on a slow pace, so you never know.
Have
They might not even give him that big of an opponent next.
he deserves it though. He
He
does
does,
deserve it.
but
Will he get it? We will
uh,
see. Good win for him. Great win for him. But next fight, Manafir versus Caitlin Shikagan. I'm still waiting for my 5 Diet Cokes on this fight. Call it from the start, Kevin. I don't like to say I was right. I don't. I stay humble in defeat and victory. But I told you, Shikagan's not going to knock her out. She's not going to choke her out or submit her. And Manning is the next person in this division to challenge for the belt. Do I think Manafir is ready to challenge for the belt? No. After that fight, no. She did not look right. She needs one more fight. She needs one more fight. She needs one more fight. But she's went out there. She beat the number one contender 2-1, and she showed. I think she was a little nervous going in. I think she was a little fighting, a little scared. She wanted
who
to get that win.
the Fury that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think Manny was fighting a little scared. She wanted to be patient, get that win. You saw her when she started to open up, she was landing on Shikagan. She looked good. But at start, she was like, she was not landing. She was just kind of sitting in a position. And I didn't like that. She has to open up, and she did. She got the decision win. And the rest is history. My 5 Diet Cokes is on the way. Can't wait.
Yeah, so might be on the fight prediction wrong, but going into this fight, I mean, the first round, I thought it was really good for Chukagian. I thought she was showing that little veteran status, and then going to the second round, it started going. It was a little iffy, and then that third round was obviously just like we she lost that round. So, but going into this fight, I knew Chukagian, but I just thought her veteran status and having all those fights against those top ranked people would carry over to beat these young studs coming up. But I guess not. I guess she's not what I thought she was. I mean, she's still a great, excellent fighter, but this girl's good. This French girl's good. And but I think she's ready for the belt? Absolutely not. I
No,
think
she
she's
needs one
done.
more fight.
No, no, no.
Yes, she needs one more fight. She just beat the number one contender. She just needs one more fight. She said in an interview with Ariel Helwani today she wants one more fight too. So she's not going to get the title
Tell me what a fight with Valentina looks like.
right now. Valentina beats her.
All right, so say Fury has a fight in let's chalk it up to January. See, she fights in January, and then she
Bro,
wins, and then boom. So then she'll fight maybe March. If she's fighting Valentina, it probably will be like May, March, around
I,
April, around that time, around the spring.
I'm
That's
not.
pretty soon. That's less than a year. She
I'm
might
not
be fighting for
saying.
that belt, and it's going to be a slaughter. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I'm not saying she's gonna beat Valentina, but Valentina's last fight against Santos in that June card, she almost lost. It was 3-2. Let's not forget that Santos is probably gonna get the rematch too. That was a close fight.
I think Valentino went to that fight like underestimating that girl.
Well,
I
we'll
think
see
it came
it.
to
We'll
bite her,
see.
but she's a champ like that.
We'll
But
see in the
you're
rematch.
right. You're right. You're right.
We'll see. A great win for Manon though. She did her thing. She went out there, did her thing. Next fight,
Yes.
Kevin can take this one. Start off.
Beneil Dariush. I mean, this is the most slept man in this division. Like he's a complete assassin. He'll walk around all week. He looks like a random dad. Like you see him walking with his two daughters' hands. Like he looks like a dad. But once he gets in that cage, a demon comes out. That man. I don't know where it hides when he's normal. Like it comes out. And this fight, Ryan himself, a lot of people are saying Gamrot was going to come because he's this young stud coming up. No, the veteran status. I've been telling you, he's fought Tony, he's fought all these people. He's up there. He hasn't had the big fights yet because he's not a big name. He's not a big promoter or any of that. So this fight, Gamrot, just absolutely, it was a slaughter fest. How many? Let's look at the stats. How many takedowns were attempted that fight? Gamrot was 4 for 19 on takedowns. Beneil Dariush was doing Aikido. He was in a different realm with those takedown defenses, tagging them up. It was a great win for Beneil, and I called it from a mile away.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong on this pick. I thought Gamrot was going to use his wrestling, mix in the striking. I thought maybe he could even get the late finish on Beneil in the later rounds, but Beneil looked good, man. I'll give it to him. Beneil looked like a guy that could be fighting for the title. If Volkanovski wasn't fighting for the title, Beneil's probably next in line. But Volkanovski's next, so Beneil's probably not going to get it. But Beneil looked legit, man. I mean, he can give Islam some stylistic problems, although I don't think he'll
They were
beat him.
supposed to fight. That was supposed to be the fight.
I
That
agree.
was Islam wasn't even supposed to fight for this
The
belt. He was supposed to fight
I
Beneil.
agree. The
What happened?
UFC's giving it to Volk, though. There's nothing we can do. It's official.
We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Ooh.
But Beneil looked good, man. He did, and I mean, he just stuffed all those takedowns. He knocked him down in the third round, and he just looked like a man on a mission, man. He walked in there ready. Gamrot just sloppy. Sloppy is the right word, I think, for Gamrot.
It would no, it wasn't even sloppy. Gamrot was in there. She was trying his
Yeah, but
hardest. He
some of
was
those takedown
everything.
attempts were just sloppy.
No,
Sloppy attempts.
it
Some of
was
those attempts were sloppy. Yes, watch the fight, bruh. Some of
of
the
course.
entries
Well, when
were
you're shooting that much,
sloppy.
of course, but 80% of that fight, it was different levels. It was Beneil was on a different level.
Yeah,
Like that's what
Gamrot's not there yet. Gamrot will be there in the future, I bet, but he's not ready yet.
hopefully hopefully we're gonna have him on and talk to him. I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, great win for Beneil. See what's next for him. I really couldn't tell you what's next for him with this division now. But yeah, let's get into the next fight. This is when our guest will be coming on. Sean O'Malley versus Petrion. This was very controversial. I mean, I was shocked, but I guess we'll see. But let's have our guest in, see what he has to say about this fight. Here he's coming in right now.
Okay, that's man. How's it going, boys?
What's up,
Connor,
bud?
do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Connor McCleary. I'm from New York. I'm a professional gambler. I gamble a lot, all sports, but when it comes to UFC, I pretty much only use KS MMA as my source of good intel for the upcoming fights that are brought on.
Now, do you want to talk about some of the bets you made Saturday? How'd you make them? Get into the fights a little more. So, what were you thinking Saturday?
Specifically for the Jan versus Mally fight, I mean, I know both you guys were kind of leaning towards Jan, so I stayed away from that fight, honestly. I knew you guys were on the fence about it. Jan was clearly the better fighter, right? Like Jan is a step ahead, as Ryan said on the other day on the podcast. He's a step ahead, but Sugar Sean just came out on top. I mean, that fight was a little iffy. I mean, based on what the judges said, I mean, Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley. I believe Peter Yan won that fight just because he had so much control time, so many takedowns. He really dominated the fight in those two aspects. But at the end of the day, it went to Sean O'Malley, a great fighter. He was definitely the undercard. I wouldn't say he deserved the win, but he got the win fair and square. So I would say overall, good for Sugar Sean. Very good.
You said Sugar got the win fair and square. What do we mean by fair and square? Because that's very controversial. I could say maybe Sugar Sean won that first round, but that second and third round was very sketch.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes down to the judge at the end of the day. The judges, they leaned into Sugar Sean, I think, a lot. I mean, I guess they didn't take Peter Yan's control time. I think it was above around 5 to 6 minutes of control time. And you had his takedowns, which I think was around 5 or 6 takedowns total. Sugar Sean having almost like less than 5 seconds of control time, less than 0. He basically had 0 takedowns all match. But but up top, when they're on their feet, like Sugar Sean was able to dominate in that aspect. And I think that's why he got the fight.
Yeah, it was definitely Conor McCleary just basically summarized that fight. Couldn't have said it better. And if last thing for you, Conor, do you want to talk about some of the bets you made Saturday, what you hit, what you missed on?
Yeah, so I watch Chaos MMA pretty much every time before there's a big card. I want to know what these two kids are thinking, what Kevin and Ryan are, and that's why it's so much better than other UFC podcasts. I mean, you have two people with dynamic personalities, like not betting against each other per se, but giving their different opinions on how the fights will go, and that's how you really need to take on fighting, because fighting is a one-on-one sport. It's not 12v12. It's not 11v11. It's not a team sport. There's one guy versus another guy, or girl versus girl, and you really need to take into all factors on how that's gone. So starting with the first fight in the main card, I mean, Man and Fury out the French. I mean, Ryan had that in the bag. You heard him say she hasn't lost since 2018. And Goomba said, I mean, Ryan said, Caitlin lacks knockout power, and we saw that in the fight. I mean, it went to decision, but she really could not deliver a punch that was that knockoutable to Fury out.
Yeah, you got the man in pick right, the Bilal pick right. I know the main event didn't hit for you. That's a shame, but
it was a real shame. I mean, Darush, I mean, I stayed away from that fight based on what you two were saying. I know Kevin had Daniil.
Should have picked it.
That was good. That was good. I mean, he was a huge, I wouldn't say he was a huge underdog, but like Gamrot's KOs, and he was very high up on that. Like, I didn't think Beneil was going to be able to do it, but he really overcame Gamrot and stuck it to the man.
Yeah, Beneil did his thing. Great win for himself. Sugar Sean got the decision win. McCleary just analyzed the fights great. McCleary, we appreciate your time, man. We'll get you again sometime.
Thanks
for having me on, boys.
Yep. All right. I mean, he couldn't have said it better. Sugar Yan, controversial. Sugar got the decision. I mean, what really got Sugar the win, though? Let's talk about it. The knee that landed and cut him open. Judges look at that a lot, believe it or not. The blood coming out, they look at that. And that's the thing. From the Aljo Yan fight, Yan always dips his head when someone throws a knee. So Sugar capitalized on that, and he landed a good one. Cut him open bad. Made Yan shoot. Yan got hurt a lot in this fight. So I don't think Sugar won, but I'm not that mad over this. I'm really not. I don't consider this a highway robbery. I don't. I think Sugar winning, you could make a thing for it. Go rewatch the fight. It's closer than most people are saying. I think it's just overreactions on MMA, Twitter, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, you, Connor, took the words out of my mouth. I agree the same thing on everything you guys said. I don't think it was a big robbery. I thought Sean, I mean, he cut him up at the end too. I mean, you got to think about it. These judges aren't listening to commentary. These judges aren't talking to people. They're sitting by themselves with like earmuffs on, just watching the fight. So, and at the end of the fight, they see that cut open. You never know. It's not Vegas commission. They're in Abu Dhabi. It's a whole complete different commission. But what I want to talk about is the future. What I think what the UFC should make, what is a great fight, is now I think they should make Sugar Sean O'Malley versus TJ Dillashaw. Because now after that Sean O'Malley, listen to me. It's a big money fight, right? And after that win, he's gonna be at least top 10, right? They'll probably chuck him up.
He's gonna be top 5.
Is he?
Yan was 100%.
He's gonna jump from 11 to 5 like that?
Yes, Yan was 1.
Okay, but so that proves my point even more. So say he is top 5. Dillashaw's coming off that loss. Dillashaw is obviously not retired. He was talking a little iffy about it. Who knows? But he seems like he still wants to fight. I think that's a good fight. I think that's a really good fight. Why don't you think that's a good fight?
I don't agree with it. I just don't think Dillashaw, he's older now. I want Sugar Sean and Cheeto Vero to finally rematch. Now's the time. They're both high up. They're both on winning streaks. It's time for the rematch. We didn't get to see that fight because of Sean's leg. Make that a rematch. Make that a rematch on a fight night, main event, or a big pay-per-view 5-round main event, co-main event. Make that rematch. Number one contender spot. I don't see why not. And then you do Aljo versus Cejudo.
That does sound. I couldn't agree more. Like I would love that. Like what I'm saying, what you're saying, either one. But wouldn't it be maybe a little bit better if TJ versus Sean is on, I don't know, maybe a Conor McGregor card or some stat card like that somewhere? Like, you know what I mean?
I think
that just boosts that card up like crazy.
I think a win against Cheeto Vera does more for Sean than a win against TJ at this stage.
I agree, but I think UFC wise, UFC doesn't care about them. UFC wants to make the best fight for them. So I think UFC wise, TJ and Sean is that fight to make.
We'll see.
Especially they're just on the same card.
Interesting things in this bantamweight division, and then we got to talk about this fight. Didn't even get to see much of it, really. I mean, Sterling Dillashaw, apparently Dillashaw is dealing with a shoulder injury off fight camp, popped out 20 times, he said, during the camp, said it's one of his hardest camps. Apparently Dillashaw told Mark Goddard in the locker room that, don't stop this fight if my shoulder pops out. Literally the first minute of the fight, his shoulder pops out. From there on, you knew it was done. He was fighting with one arm. He went back to his corner. That thing was done. He went back out. Aljamain pounded him. We didn't get to see the full fight, and I'm pretty annoyed by that, but Aljo looks like a different man now. I mean, his striking, his ground game, it's crazy how good Aljo is now. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Cejudo could put up a good fight, but besides that, I don't know if there's any bantamweight in the world right now that could beat Aljamain Sterling. I don't know.
What did I say?
We both said.
What did I say? I said it in the last video. I said, out of all the fights on this card, I said this is the cakewalk. Aljamain Sterling went in there, did what he did. I told you after he got that neck surgery, he's a completely different human being. He's completely different. He said it himself. His team said it. So there's so many other resources that have said it. He's completely different. He has his full mobility back, and he's proved it. I mean, knocking TJ Dillashaw out that quick. I get it. He had problems with the shoulder. I even saw him at one point in the fight. He was trying to pop it back in. Right? You saw that in the fight. He was trying to pop it back in. And that's just the fight game. You really can't do anything at that point. But you can't take anything away from Sterling. It was just a great performance, dominant. He deserved everything he did that night. And I mean, that Cejudo fight. Is Cejudo 100% coming back?
Yeah, he's getting tested by USADA. He's ready. He's ready.
Let's look at this division. Let's look at this division real quick. Because so right now it's not updated. It'll update tomorrow morning actually. But right now, currently, Peter Yan's number one. And then you got TJ Dillashaw. And then you got Maherb. And then you got Sanhagen. And then you got Vera. So those are your top five.
I'm telling you, it's going to be
Yeah, Vera, like you're saying with that Sugar fight, that's good. Cody Sandahagen can't fight Aljo again.
Not yet. One more fight.
Marab, I don't know.
Marab's not going to fight his teammate. They're teammates. Marab said they won't fight each other. Count that out.
Perfect. So count that out, but just beat TJ. So that is probably the only fight really looking up. Or if the UFC really want to do it, they'll toss Sugar Sean. They'll toss Sugar Sean at Aljo. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's an if. That's a possibility.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Before the fight, Dana was saying Sugar's the number one contender fight. Then after the Sugar fight, he's like, we'll see. So you got to think Dana's like, I think he needs one more fight.
Yeah. I don't think Dana wants it, but I think it's still in their pocket.
It's definitely still there. But this was a good fight.
But let's get to this main event. I want to start this off. All right.
Main event. This feels good, man. You can start off, but oh my!
For me, this is a heartbreaking event. I thought Charles Oliveira. I thought Du Bronx. He's a great fighter to this day. I think he did really well in that first round. I really thought he did. I just don't think because he is really good at pressuring the opponent back. Like he's always pressuring, even if he's getting clipped in the chin and everything. He's always pressuring. I think in the start of that second round, he started not really pressuring as much, and like he started like getting nervous because he started knowing that like, oh, Islam can take me down now, and nobody's ever done that. Who's went for a takedown attempt on Charles Oliveira and in his past 5 fights? Like, come on. So like, and so now he's like, oh, he can actually take me down. So I think that little nervousness got him, and then yeah, that's another thing too. That chin. I thought it might be a tactic, but I don't know. It's not good
Yeah,
when you're doing that two to three times a fight. You know what I mean? And he did get clipped by Islam. He went back to his tactic, and Islam jumped right on him. I don't think Oliveira was expecting that at all, and Islam sunk in that choke really deep. And respect to Islam and his team. And yeah, I think there's only one man left that can come back and save this lightweight division.
let me get into it. Here is why I've been hyping Islam up for 2 years. I was telling everyone he's the next champ of this division. Here's why. Going into this fight, I knew he wasn't going to be scared to take down Charles Oliveira. He was going to go to the ground with him. Unlike all the other fighters, he was going to go down there and take him down. And that's what he did. Number two, thing that was annoying me all fight camp about this is everyone's saying, oh, striking. Islam's striking defense is not that bad. It got so much better over the years. I did not think Oliveira was just going to go out there and clip him. It's definitely a possibility, but Islam outlanded him. Islam's striking looked good Saturday. That's what's the crazy thing. He hurt Oliveira badly in the second round. The third thing, he's getting trained by Khabib Nurmagomedov, the one of the best coaches in the world right now. We can say he changes how you fight. It's crazy. Islam was confident going in. He was always going to take this fight to the ground. He was not going to be afraid, unlike any other opponent. Dustin, Chandler, Gaethje, they would not want to go to the ground with Oliveira, and that's where Oliveira got success from. Stand up, because they knew I'm not going to go to the ground, so Oliveira had confidence. He didn't have to worry about that takedown. But once that first takedown got landed, Oliveira was like, crap, I got to worry about that takedown. And then when he worried about that takedown, what happened in the second round? He got clipped. And he was hurt. He didn't fall down on purpose. He was hurt. He got rocked. And then as we all know, the rest of history, Islam jumps on him, chokes him out, tap, fight over. I'm not going to disrespect Oliveira. Oliveira, I'm telling you guys now, he's going to come back from this very strong.
He's not going anywhere. He's not.
He's going to come back. I think you could possibly do Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush now. That's a great fight to be made right there. Oliveira is one of the best in the world still. He just fought the guy that is just a little bit better than him right now. Oliveira will come back. I believe he will get a few more wins. And maybe down the line, we get this rematch eventually. But Oliveira needs to work on a few things. But, man, he's not going anywhere. Let's not forget that. Oliveira is the real deal. Can't deny it.
Yeah, and, man, that, like – Khabib has really changed, like what AKA is doing and the way they're growing, and now they're like they're permanently like in Abu Dhabi. Now I don't even think they're training out of California anymore because ever since he left, they kind of like dipped out of California. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that team is getting kind of scary, and now you have Islam. I mean, Khabib was just the tip, and now it's going down to Islam, and you have all these other guys and all these other weight divisions. And now you have all other guys like Muhammad going there. So it's scary stuff going on in the UFC with those Dagestani boys.
Yeah.
But there is only one man on this planet that can come back and knock out a Dagestani chin. Pardon me. There's only one man, and that's Conor McGregor. No. Conor McGregor will come back. He will come back and fight Justin Gaethje probably around sometime in the winter. Probably beginning.
He's still not in the USADA pool. He's 6 months away still.
That's fine.
He's not getting that title shot anytime soon.
I'm not saying I didn't say he's going to get the title fight. I said he's going to fight Justin Gaethje next, and then
Gaethje might not want to wait that long.
Yo, can I finish?
Just saying.
Can I finish?
Just saying.
Islam is probably going to have a title defense, and then Conor will come back, fight Gaethje, absolutely send Gaethje into orbit, and then boom, you have a super mega fight. Conor McGregor in that first camp against Khabib. Conor McGregor, out of every single one of Khabib's opponents, he's the only one he's had the most success against Khabib. He's the only person to win a round against Khabib Nurmagomedov. And he was going to that camp drinking 3 days before the fight, not really
I can't
training.
listen to
He was on his high horse.
All right.
In the mentally, he was.
No,
Let me finish. No, 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 no,
no.
no, no,
This
no,
is
no.
just
Let me
crazy
finish.
now.
He was not in his right mental space.
Oh,
And you even saw in the press that press conference got dark. He was throwing dollies at buses. He was dealing with all this stuff with New York and getting arrested and all this. No, his mind's clear now. He'll come back.
listen.
He will blast Gaethje, and then he will fight. He will fight to regain, and will get that Power Ranger belt,
Just stop.
and finally regain for the Irish people.
Listen, we love what McGregor's done for the sport, but he's not the same guy. He's really not. You can tell his striking slowed down. His ground
Terminator
games has slowed down.
He's
He's
the
not the same
Terminator.
guy. He might not even be
He's the
fighting at
Terminator.
155 anymore.
He's the Terminator now.
fighting at 170 next fight. So yeah, I don't even think he'll. You know how hard it's going to make the 155 for that man. We see how big he is now.
Got a titanic shin bone.
So McGregor, let's not talk about it. This is Islam Makhachev's moment. This is Islam's moment. 2 years in the making. Everyone doubted him. Everyone said he couldn't. He hasn't beat anyone in the top five.
It's easy to get to the top. It's hard to stay there. So now is when the real shit starts for Islam. He has to start defending that belt because everyone's gonna be gunning for him.
Well, he's got Volkanovski in February, and I think he'll win that fight. And then after that, he'll probably get Beneil.
Are you gonna say something about that? Because I'm about to. If you're not,
probably get Beneil. I mean, Volkanovski's getting it. There's nothing we can say.
I think that is one of the before I say I love the UFC. I'm a huge UFC fan. I have a whole me and my friend, my best friend, start a whole MMA thing. I love the UFC, but I think this is one of the most pathetic, diabolical moves the UFC has ever pulled because they know what they're doing. I think a fight between Volk and Islam is going to go the way everybody think it is. Volkanovski is I don't think he's big enough for that weight class, and Islam has trouble making 155. So Islam will go into that fight huge against Volk. And with Islam, everybody's hype. He's the best grappler ever, right? He should be able to play with Volkanovski. I think this is the wrong move for the UFC. I think they're kind of setting up Volkanovski to even build Islam up and that whole Khabib team even more. I think it's a smart move by the UFC, but I don't like it at all. I think it's gross. I like that. I think it's gross, and I'm gonna say it right here, right now on the show.
Well, the great thing about this sport is anything can happen, no matter what the odds are.
I'm a Volkanovski fan. I'll be 100% Volkanovski going to that fight. I just think it's a gross move by the UFC to do that.
We'll see what happens. I mean, never know. Folks, pound for pound, #1 right now.
Everybody knows what's going to happen in that fight.
Anything can happen in a fight.
No, because Volk's pound for pound #1. They're using that. They're going to use that to boost Islam. Oh, he just slaughtered pound for pound.
Regardless of who won this fight, Volk was getting the double champ opportunity. If Oliveira won Saturday, he was fighting Oliveira. It wasn't like UFC was like, only if Islam.
But that makes sense though, because Oliveira would have nobody to fight then. Honestly, Oliveira would only have Conor McGregor to fight, but you don't want that fight to happen, right? Nobody wants that fight to happen.
But no, Oliveira,
exactly.
Oliveira, Beneil.
No, it's not a big enough fight, so of course they would make that.
Anything would if Oliveira beat Makhachev Saturday, it would have been a big fight.
Nah, that Islam. The last thing of that fight's gross. I think Islam Volk's gross. That's all I gotta say.
Well, we'll see what happens. Certainly, gonna be interesting to see. That's the end of this, though. First up, though, just want to say a little thank you for the 1,000 subscribers. Appreciate it. It's only gonna go up from here. We are probably covering the PFL MSG event in November, so we'll get a lot of content down there. But yeah, thanks for all the support. Hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, all the fans. Everybody who watches, likes our content, follows us. Thank you again for Goomba. While I was in the military, he really held it down, growing our page. So yeah, just thank you, Ryan, and everybody who supports us, and
Everyone, Kevin too, everyone. Thanks
it's
for the
it's
support.
it's only up for here.
Yeah. And we'll see you at interview coming up soon. Thanks again.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys.